All right, there's 45 pieces in there. One thing that gives away the new beadboard to me. Here's a quick video on how to hang this tongue and groove beadboard. Today I'm gonna focus on the floor. See the big ridge? And then I use this here. So I ended up just going to get this wood filler. All right, I'm at Home Depot. I just cleared out this pile. All the rest of these are junk. This is all good. I'm taking it, this is junk. So this is gonna be our new ceiling. And I gotta see, hopefully there's gonna be a way I can fit this over my car. All right, there's 45 pieces in there, all strapped down nicely. Let's go. Okay, here is a pile that I have sanded of the fresh brand new beadboard. Here is a piece I want to show something. If there's one thing that bothers me about new beadboard, you can always tell it's new. Besides, there's something about old painted beadboard. It's been painted numerous times where you can just tell. But one thing that gives away the new beadboard to me is this little ridges here. If you can see that, I don't know. Whenever I see new beadboard, this is a dead giveaway. Drives me nuts for some reason, these little ridges. That's why I went through and I sanded that entire pile here. And I'm going through, this is the last piece, and I'm gonna sand this one just like I did the rest. Pretty easy, light sand. I am using a drum sander and I'm just going through and lightly hitting it. There, so I knocked it down. You don't see any of that ridge anymore. That's much better. I don't know why, but you never see that ridge on the old beadboard. I don't know if it was differently cut down and milled different back in the day, or if it's just because it's been coated so many times with paint usually. Here's a quick video on how to hang this tongue and groove beadboard by yourself. This is 12-foot long pieces. It was pretty challenging at first, and then I figured it out. So this is what I'm doing. First off, I had to screw this board across. I put a couple screws in where the studs were behind the drywall to keep it secure. And then I put this piece on. All it is the board with another board screwed on top. And I'll show you why. What I do is I grab 3 pieces of flooring that I had. You don't have to use flooring. You can use any kind of boards that will be tall enough to reach the floor to the ceiling. 3 of those. So I just set it up there, right? Close to where it's going to go, but not too close. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I bring this side up. Now, you have to have space on both ends so that the wood can expand and contract. So I measured, cut it the right size. Okay, so now I'm gonna just push this up here with this other board. That's it, and I just push it onto the ground so it's tightish. Okay, so I put that board on. Now I'm gonna bring this one over here and do the same. I'm just gonna push it up there. Now this one's barely on there. It's not tight. I didn't jam it in because I need to move this board over just a touch so it's centered better. So this needs to go over just a little bit. Right there. I'm happy with that. And I'm just gonna pull this board out on the top part so it's tight. Here's the third board. And I usually go right somewhere around the middle, like that. You can put your foot on the bottom and just pull it. So it's kind of tight. That's it. That's how I hold it up. Now I'm just gonna take a little scrap piece and my hammer. And that's it. Now I'm just going to go through with my nail gun. I have all the studs marked. Now, as you could tell, I didn't tack the end there, but that's okay because that wood is in the way. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to come back and I'm just going to tack all the way down. It's all right to have the nails showing on the ends because it's going to be covered up with trim. Good. All right, today is a beautiful, wonderful day. So I got this ceiling done other than one little strip on the end there, which I need to break out the table saw and all that. So I'm gonna do that one soon, next few days. Today I'm gonna focus on the floor. I wanna do a nice sand, and unbelievably, most people would probably never use 20 grit on their floor, but because this floor is so jagged, look at this sandpaper. That's 20 grit right here. That is no joke, man. So that'll take all this down. But the main reason I'm using the 20 grit is because the floor is very, very like wavy because it's old and it's concaved in a lot of areas. So when I put it down, it's not flush. You see the big ridge? A lot of the floor is like that. So what I do is I use this 20 grit to knock it down. And then whenever everything here is knocked down pretty flat, then I can come back with different sandpaper, finer grit. I'm so blessed my neighbor let me use this. It saved me a lot of money. She found her white squirrel in the tree. She's so excited. She wanted me to go with her to look at it, and I said, no, I'm gonna stay back here because I'll scare it away. She is a little bit of a squirrel whisperer.
Hi, little cutie pie. What are you eating? You are so cute. We haven't seen you in a long time. Oh my goodness, look at you. You're so cute.
So I've done a lot of sanding on this floor. It's getting more smooth. The next step would be to take it down to 100 grit. I still have to do more sanding around the outside though. Yeah, so then the next after that, I want to get out here under the door. I'm gonna cut this out next. And I should have cut this out in the beginning. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna cut it or not, but I realized it just needs to be done. Because if we ever need to get under there, I don't wanna have to cut it later. And I know it's tight, but I can get under there. And there's water pipes and everything you need right here going outside under the ground and into the road. So this is a good spot. The floor is looking awesome. I've been sanding the entire day. All right, so there's a big gap here. I am not a floor expert by any means. See the gap? What I'm going to do is I have been doing a lot of research. A lot of times what people do is they use sawdust and epoxy or sawdust and glue and they fill those gaps. But then when the floors expand and contrast, it ends up working its way out, breaking its way out of there. So I got this caulk. It's called Big Stretch. It's tinted like a tan colored. I also got a darker color so I could try both. Yeah, this one's a tan one. I decided to try and use this caulk in these cracks. And what I'm doing is like when I wipe it down, I just have it so it dips a little bit so it's not flush with the floor. And the reason why is I think it will, if it expands and contrasts, it hopefully, since it's a little bit below the floor when I wipe it, it won't come up too high. I don't know if that's true or not, but let's try it. Wipe it in first with my finger to push it in nice and good, and then I'll wipe it. When I wipe it, I want to try to keep this like flat as possible and not, like that. Looks good. Still gonna need to go over everything with a sander one more time. Now, I think the darker caulk would actually be better, but this room, I'll just stick with this one. The next room, I'll probably use the darker one. It's really not gonna make a difference, but. All right, so I ended up going all out for this floor here with all the nail holes because I had to face nail through the top because a lot of the bottom of the grooves were broken because the wood had been torn out of another house, reclaimed, really, really old wood. So I got the idea to get some epoxy, mix it up. I bought some of these, what are these called? Hey babe, what are these called? Huh? What are these things called again?
Syringe.
Syringe, okay. I had to nail through the surface of this wood and pretty much every one of these. The tongue was good, but the groove was, a lot of it was broken out on the bottom. So when you put it in there, there was no bottom, so it could kind of come up, right? So you have to nail through that part of the wood. I have a lot of nail holes through here. Initially, what I thought was a really good idea to use epoxy because epoxy seems to adhere to wood better than wood filler, I've noticed. I don't know if that's true, but that's my opinion. So what I did was I mixed up some epoxy and I bought this dye. Seemed like a good idea. And then I used this here. Hey, what's this called again? Oh, a syringe. And then I got this syringe off Amazon, thinking it was a good idea because, and then what I did was I poured the epoxy. I mixed the epoxy up, I added the dye, mixed it up, and then I poured it in to the syringe all the way to the top. Seemed like a good idea, but they don't last very long before it hardens. So you get about 20 minutes to work with it before it starts to harden up. And then you have to go through throw these syringes away. Well, the reason I like this syringe was because you could put it right in that nail hole and just squeeze it. So it seemed like it worked pretty good, but then I realized it's just gonna take forever. I have to keep going through these, and I'm just like, it ain't worth it. So I ended up just going to get this wood filler, and that's what I'm doing for the rest of the floor. It's gonna be great. Okay, the day's almost over and I just finished. Fantastic. So I'm going to sand tomorrow.
Hey there, we'd love for you to check out our newly designed website at journeydowntheroad.com. You can easily search for whatever category or topic you're interested in and read more about our little pine cottage. Get the inside scoop about our story and how we've lived simply in small spaces and how you can too. See how we've also built a handmade home with reclaimed and salvaged materials. Thanks for joining us on this journey.